SEKERCI.
Yeah.
We'll let the photographers take pictures for a few seconds and then we'll ask them to take their seats. We'll do the press conference in English, but if you'd like to speak in another language, that's fine. I can interpret from German to English if you need. Je vous demanderai, s'il vous plaît, les photographes, de bien vouloir prendre vos places. I'd ask the photographers to please sit down so we can start the press conference. S'il vous plaît, messieurs, dames.
Merci. Faut appuyer quelque part?
Welcome to the press conference for AUS DEM NICHTS in the Fade at the playing in competition at the 70th International Cannes Film Festival. We have a number of guests with us, and unusually I'm going to start with guests. There are so many, in fact, that we don't have room for them all at the table. I'm going to introduce them. They're sitting in the first row. And I will start on the left with one of the film's actresses, Madame Samia Shankrin. Next to her, a very striking actor, Numan Acar. In the role of Andre Müller, Ulrich F. Brandhoff. The film's editor, Andrew Bird. A legend of German cinema, a scriptwriter, an actor, a director, a screenplay writer. Here he's a co-script writer, Hawk Bohm. And finally, a longtime collaborator of Fatih Akin, his director of photography, KLAUSMANN. And if you'd like to, any of you would like to become involved, have something to say in the discussion, we'll bring you the microphone, so you're part of this. I will introduce our guest on the podium now, starting at the far end. He's written screenplays for films like The Never-Ending Story and Christiana F. He's also acted and directed. Today he's with us as the film's producer, Herman WEIGEL. Dennis Moschito plays the role of the lawyer Danilo Fava. He's also the author of 2 novels about hacking, computer hacking. His collaboration with Fatih Akin's taken many forms. They've worked together. Fatih's even written a script for him, I believe.
I wrote the script for him, but she played the part.
He loves me.
Head On, Gegen die Wand, won the Golden Bear in Berlin in 2004, as well as the German and European Film Awards. In Cannes, The Edge of Heaven, Auf der anderen Seite, won the Screenplay Award in 2007, and was also nominated for a César for Best Foreign Film. His film Soul Kitchen was nominated for Best European Film and was awarded the Special Jury Prize in Venice in 2010. The film's producer, director, and scriptwriter, Fatih Akin. And next to me, a longtime collaborator of Fatih. She's worked with him since 2005. She's produced for him, in addition to In the Fade, The Cut, The Edge of Heaven, and Crossing the Bridge. She also worked for him as second AD on Soul Kitchen, NURHAN SEKERCI-PORST. Our next guest has been a leading lady at the Cannes Film Festival since 2003, when she was awarded the Chopin Trophy for Best New Actress. In 2007, she hosted the festival's opening and closing ceremonies, and in 2009, she was here as part of the cast for Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds. She began her career attending the prestigious Royal Ballet School of London before going on to model for such designers as Yves Saint Laurent, Chanel, Christian Dior, Giorgio Armani, and Louis Vuitton. She's graced the covers of Vogue, Marie Claire, Elle, Cosmopolitan, among many other.
Thank you.
And so much more. As an actress, she's lit up the screen for directors such as Benoît Jacot, Jaco van Dormeal, Denis Arcand, Billy August, Agnieszka Holland, and Wolfgang Petersen. She won a Screen Actors Guild Award as part of the ensemble for Inglourious Basterds. Please welcome in the role of Katja, Diane Kruger. It's terrific honor to have you here. We have many questions, so I will begin with this gentleman from Belgium.
Bonjour, Hugues Daillet, Télévision
Hugues Daillet, Belgian TV.
Ask this question in French and maybe have an answer in French for Diane Kruger. Diane Kruger, évidemment, ce film suscite plein de questions.
Diane Kruger, this film gives rise to many questions. Congratulations first on your performance. Sentimentally speaking, apart from your desire to work with Fatih Akin, what gave you the strength, the energy, the desire to play this part? The character carries the film from beginning to end. Were you afraid to embark on this film? Because it was an experience which is very different from preceding experiences. What did you feel about this film? Indeed, this is a part that made me feel rather frightened. What touched me most in this film, the reason I really wanted to do it, was because it's a film about terrorism. Unfortunately, we're living at a time when such horrors keep occurring almost daily. You hear figures, 22 dead, 100 dead, but you never hear about the actual people who remain behind. And Katia's experience is so full of emotion. I thought, how can one continue to live after such a horrible occurrence? How can you come to grips with such unfairness, such injustice? And I become Katia. I know her. I have the impression I grew up with her. The fact Fatih wanted to make a film about this topic moved me deeply. I was very scared indeed. She's a character who's not similar to me. I had to change completely to become her. Fatih asked me to leap into the unknown, and I decided to go ahead. He's a film director who's always inspired me. He marked my youth in Germany with his films. I felt he was the only person who could make such a film. I love working with him, and I think that this film is unfortunately very topical.
Fatih, let me follow up to that. It is in a new territory for Diane Kruger. What made you think of her to cast the role?
I met her in Cannes. It was in 2012. I had a tiny documentary here called Polluting Paradise, I think that was the title. And I had... Yeah, right. And I had this party at the beach. It was a small party. And late that night, Diane appeared. And we chat together immediately in German, straight away, no accent, no nothing. And she said she would like to work with me. And I never forget that. And when I was changing the sex from a man into a woman, and it was very important that it has to be a German woman, it has to be an Aryan woman, like blonde, blue eyes and stuff. You know, who can act this? And I didn't want to cast the usual suspects in Germany, so she came into my mind. I was like, Diane Kruger, yeah, that could be something, and here we are.
Good idea, good instinct.
Thank you.
Question on the left.
I come from Georgia. I come from Georgia. Thank you very much for this film. I've been waiting for 2 years for someone to make a film on terrorism because it's such a topical issue. Are you trying to say that prison isn't enough for terrorism? Is the punishment of terrorism not enough? Should it be stiffer? Should things go further?
Whoever would like to answer.
It's the character's decision to do what she's doing, you know. It's like, you know, when you write something, you put a lot of instinct in it, fantasy in it, your own discussion in it, you know, what is right and what is wrong, you know, like you have the state justice, you know, you have the justice of the society, and you have the feeling for justice of the individual. And sometimes that clash, you know, and this film is also about that clash, you know. Where there is a clash, there is a drama, and where, you know, it's worth telling about it, you know. It's like, I don't know what I would do in such a situation. You know, I hope I will never get into such a situation. Nobody knows of us who didn't experience such an experience what we would do. But when you start to think as a father, you know, as a parent, you know, like losing your child, nightmares come into your mind. And I'm an author, and filmmaking gives me the possibility to have a dialogue with my nightmares, right?
Thank you. On the, have the microphone on the right side.
Hello, Daniel Kotenschulde, Frankfurter Rundschau, Germany. I have a legal question, but first of all, congratulations for bringing this tragic events to the public attention again of the German right-wing terrorism. But the legal question, Huck Bohm, I see you here, my former teacher actually, you might answer this question. In the trial, it's quite obvious that the public persecutor doesn't play an active role, but it's actually the side persecutor. I don't know what the English word is, but it's according to German law, one can take their own lawyers into such a trial, and that happened actually with the actual process, that's the actual trial that's going on about the real murders. However, what is the explanation that the public persecutor, the actual state persecutor, does not play any active part in the trial that we see?
Fragt nach dem Staatsanwalt.
Yes.
Dich gefragt, ja.
Can we have the microphone in the front, please, the front row in the middle? We're going to ask, I neglected to mention that Högbohm isn't only a legend of German cinema, but also German courtrooms. He's a lawyer.
Well,
It's on. It's on.
It's on,
it's on. Okay. You see, when you are working on a drama, you have a main person, and that's the center, and the prosecutor, der Staatsanwalt, he plays just the part he has to play, and there is a iron law, so to speak, in justice, that you, in the moment you doubt, this is it's the chance of the. Now I speak German. Es ist die Chance des Angeklagten, weil es gibt ein Grundgesetz im Zweifel für den Angeklagten, und das hat auch der Staatsanwalt zu respektieren. Später wird Dianes Anwalt sagen, wir gehen in Revision. Und das ist auch ein Recht. Er kann, dass er wahrhaben kann. Aber im Zentrum, müssen Sie sich vorstellen, steht der Charakter von Katja, also der Charakter von Diane Kruger.
Can I say something to this, you know, and then we go on?
But perhaps I should just translate first.
I mean, there is a real...
Fatih, ich werde zuerst aber übersetzen, kurz, was gesagt hat. Just very basically, the tenets of German law, that on the one hand, the accused are entitled to the benefit of doubt until they're found guilty, and the other question is that, of course, you have the opportunity to lodge an appeal once the verdict has been delivered.
Have you ever been to the real trial, to the NSU trial?
Maybe we could even talk about that.
Yeah, would you give us a quick explanation about the NSU case, please?
I was hoping you would, because it's the background.
I think you would do it shorter and smarter.
The NSU is the National Socialist Underground. They committed many murders, many terrorist attacks in Germany in the early 2000s, and their trial is going on right now as we speak. And please take it from there.
And we went several times to that trial for research, right? And whenever I've been there, the prosecutor said nothing but the Jews thing. I mean, he said nothing. I mean, like, the guy is silent, you know? He listens, I don't know. So, next question.
Yes, over there on the left, Madame.
Ich würde das auf Deutsch die Frage stellen. Ich? Jemand anderes? Na, alles klar.
We prefer if you could speak in English,
Das ist
otherwise
Ukraine, Mariana Kafka. Die Frage...
English,
okay. If your film change im Laufe von Drehen...
During production.
Did your script change while you were filming?
Yeah, and if you are satisfied with your work, or you would like to edit anything after?
No, I like the movie how it is. Thank you.
And did the script change? Let's take that first part of the...
The script didn't change too much once we start. I mean, lines here and there, and sometimes you cut a scene out because it's too long, you know, or whatever. No, but basically this screenplay was very solid, and it was there, and we just had to shoot it. And Diane made a lot of suggestions. She's a very, I have to say it, sorry, but she's a very smart and bright and intuitive and, you know, curious actress. So she challenged me from time to time, like made me offers to play stuff different, to not play anything, and I was right to listen to her, you know. I'm a good listener, you know, so whatever was changed, she changed it a bit here and there. But generally speaking, it was okay, and I'm happy to be here in Cannes with the film as I did it, you know.
Question on the right. Or in the middle.
Ulrich Koltermann, German TV, ZDF. Fatih, you mentioned the NSU trial. Can you elaborate? What was your impression of it?
Well, when this came up, when the scandal came up, and the real scandal was not that the German neo-Nazis killed, I don't know, 10 people, 9 immigrants and 1 police officer. That was not the real scandal. The scandal was that for 10 years, the police, the German society, and the German press thought the murderers were Turkish people or Kurdish people. It's something with the mafia. So these people were killed 2 times. You know what I mean? They couldn't be victims, you know? They were also like, they must, because they're Turkish, they must have something to do with drugs or anything, you know? That was the real scandal about that case, and that made me so angry, and that made me to sit down and write about it. But once I start writing, or whenever you start writing, different layers popped up, and the layer of the mother character popped up. And so that character and like being a mother and, I don't know, the develop of grief was interesting me more. I think it's a film about a mother, you know. I think it's a film about grief, you know. I think whatever the political kickoff was for me to sit down and write it is more in the background. This is what I think today. This is how we all try to do this film. You know, you can exchange this NSU thing. It could be Muslim terrorist. It could be any kind of terrorist. It's not so important. It became not so important that these were like the neo-Nazis. It's like somebody have a loss, and we analyze the loss.
Fatih, you just talked about your outrage at the way the German police treated the victims of these terrorist acts. However, in the film, you present the chief investigator, the inspector, with a great deal of sympathy. You present him as someone well-intentioned and likable, it seems.
That was not on purpose. that happened somehow, you know, that sometimes you can really not control things, and sometimes the film does what the film does, you know, and you just let it flow, you know. I try to make them a bit like dump, you know, a bit, you know. I don't know how much I succeed with that. There's one moment it's like, whatever, you know the film. So, but yeah, and then I had cops around me, you know, like real investigators, you know. They helped me like for any questions, you know, and we were polite to each other. And I don't know if some of this politeness with unconsciously sneaked in the film. I don't know.
Question, yes, in the back on the left.
Hello, it's Rüdiger Suchsland from Deutschlandfunk. Congratulations as well to this film and for bringing the topic of fascist terrorism and of this racism in Germany on the screen. There was some years ago here in a competition, there was Michael Kohlhaas, Kleist drama, which is as well about a character who is in a way a very just man, but as well you can consider him as a criminal. And I would like to know from you, Fatih, as well from Diane Kruger, what is your opinion on what is she doing at the end, this last act? Is it an act of justice? Is it an act of revenge? Is it kind of suicide? All of it, of course, but what is it specifically for you?
Do you want to start?
Well, I don't think it's our place to explain our film to you. It's a proposition of a character. And I think my character is not a murderer. She's a regular, everyday kind of woman who was put in a very unfortunate and compromising situation. And so the movie is a proposition of what would you do. In this case, this is what my character does. And, so ask yourself, what would you do?
Yeah, right. I don't want to explain it because then, yeah, it has different layers. Choose one.
Thank you. Question on the right.
Pour France Antilles. Nicolas Fassino pour France Antilles.
Nicolas Fassino. I'd like to commend Diane Kruger on her wonderful acting. The character is stupendous in the film and lives up to your tremendous talent as an actress.
And Fatih, you paint a very black picture in which a fanatic and an extremist group manage to sow fear and to favor the play of amalgams. You, who are an immigrant son, your mother was a teacher, you are the face of this multicultural society, as in France, as in United States, as in many European countries too. To be optimistic, art is a formidable vector of integration and to push and to get out the fear. Is what repelling prejudices would also begin by making see the good side of diversity with a better representation, fans, film, or media. What do you think about that? To improve this representation of diversity?
Wow.
Go.
Well, we live in a globalized world. This is the reality. And this globalized world fears a lot of people. It challenges a lot of people, I think globalization somehow also can be a progress, This is globalization, what we do here. It's visual communication is globalization. And then you have the brutality of economics and stuff. There's also globalization. We don't want to get into this today because it's not the theme of the film. But I am a child of globalization. And, and I have the gift to do what I do, and I can share my feelings or the mood I am with people from all over the world. And I'm optimistic with that, And optimism is light. And where light is shadow, And here in the film business, the lights are a bit stronger, so you have like bigger shadows, So, but I think to understand and have not a fear anymore for globalization, it will take some time. Things don't progress so very fast. Human beings don't progress very fast, But I'm optimistic that maybe I will experience that, or my children, or my grandchildren, maybe. That the world you described, will come true. I don't know if this answers your question, but.
I have a question for you, Dennis. We've seen you in Tatort, the German weekly crime drama that has every German sitting in front of the TV Sunday nights. What's different about working on this film?
Well, I'm not so fond of German TV, to be honest. And I'm sorry. The difference is Fatih, obviously. He's a great director. He's a very challenging director for me as an actor. And it's the work I always wanted to do. I'm sitting here, so everything went fine. Yeah.
Thank you. We have a question on the left side.
Yeah.
Madame.
Bonjour. Hello. Jeanne Bougrin from Les Echos newspaper Morocco. Thank you and congratulations for this amazing movie again. My question is, you are very sincere and faithful in your work, in your movie, Fatih Akin. You work with the same people.
First time.
Yeah, I know. But for the photography, I mean, my question is about photography. How do you manage to create such magic with Rainer KLAUSMANN after all these years? And what is the line or your line between aesthetics and meaning with this dark and very intense movie? What is the place, I mean, to aesthetics? Thank you.
Maybe this is a good question for my DOP.
No.
He doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to.
Okay, good. He doesn't talk too much, he just shoots.
But he has to now.
But he has the microphone, like it or not. Right here, mademoiselle, just ici.
Yes. Okay, yep, here we go.
It's on.
Now it's up to you.
What?
Okay, it's up to you first.
Okay.
So, I do have the director. I'm only the guy on photography, so.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Normally we don't go like this. It's easy between us because we don't talk a lot. We see each other and we talk before, and then we go on the set and then we shoot. And he tells me what I have to do, and I do it. So that's it.
Yeah, that's actually it.
Rainer, according to the press kit, Fatih said that you're telling him what to do or what not to do some of the time.
No, I can't really not explain. It's more one thing for the belly. It's not from the brain, you know. Here's the brain, I'm in the belly, and then we changed in the middle, and then we both think about the story, and then we look at each other and we try to find out what we liked, really. If I like to see it in the cinema, what he liked to see on the screen, and then we start. I mean, no?
Yeah.
More or less.
More or less, it's like that.
Thank you very much. Next question on the right. Sir.
Okay. Rodrigo Fonseca, TV Globo, Brasil. Fatih, this is a powerful political film. This is a powerful family film, but it is also a thriller. I would like to tell a few words about your work with Andrew Bird to build up this thrilling dimension of the film. And a second question, could you please tell a few words about the metaphor of the sea in your work? Because it appears constantly. Could you say a few words about it?
Okay. I will go to the sea first. I don't know, my mother was a teacher, but my father was a fisherman before he came to Hamburg. And Hamburg is a port town. You know, that's why my father chose to come to Hamburg, because he was a fisherman. He had just these small boats, you know, and he wanted to see the big boats, you know. So, and each summer holiday, we went to this tiny fisherman village where he's coming from. And in literature and in paintings, the sea often is a metaphor for the dead. Somehow, you had these, you know, these images from the mothers or the wives of the fishers who stand on the beach and waiting that her men or children or parents would come. And when the sea was too wild, they get drunk and they never come back. So the sea become kind of like this metaphor for dead, you know. And or you know the end of we don't go into that, you know. Yeah, so that's for the sea for me is kind of like a poetic or a beautiful or a consoling personal picture for the dead. And for the first question, the thriller question, I would like Andrew Bird answering this question, please, my editor.
Can we have a microphone?
He speaks perfectly English because he's British.
We need a microphone in front, please. Coming right up. Merci, mademoiselle. Monsieur avec la casquette.
Yeah, I don't think we really set out to make a thriller with this film.
Don't we?
Did we? I mean, we've been working together for 20 years, so we don't really talk very much either.
we just kind of do stuff now.
Nobody wants to talk with me.
But one of the dangers of working together for so long is that you become a bit complacent. And I think one of the things that's kept us going for so long is that we try to do something new with each film. And when we see that we're falling back on tricks that we've used before, we try to avoid those. And I think this time, we've never really done a thriller before, and we've done comedies, we've done dramas, and this time it was fun to kind of play a bit with elements of that genre. And for me in the editing room, it's great to have these different experiences all the time.
Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, he made this beautiful and adorable soundtrack. And I told him, like, hey man, can you make it sound a bit more like a thriller? I have this material and I would like to push it more into the thriller direction because I never did a thriller direction. Then there's this car chase in the very end, you know? And I just told him, hey man, make it sound like a Hitchcock, man. And he did.
Numan, I'd like to ask you, what does Fatih need from his producer? What do you bring him?
I think, I mean, we've been working for a long time, so I think it's important for Fatih to have also passionate people around him, because he's very passionate himself. He's a little bit crazy sometimes, but
just a little.
but yeah, I think he wants people who support his vision, and yeah, it works, you know. I mean, he's a good guy.
Are there ever sparks?
Sparks?
Sparks, differences of opinion?
There is, yeah, but you can really discuss it with him. You know, he's not like a dictator. And yeah, we do discuss a lot of things, you know, but I mean, it's always interaction, you know. He might sometimes, like, Herman was working with him on the script too, like Haag. So they had really interesting discussions. We sometimes discuss the financing, whom to take in and whom to take out. So it's like always an interaction with him. And it's good, it's fun.
Thank you. Sir.
Hi, Jason Gorber from Screen Anarchy and Birth Movies Death. First of all, congratulations on having a long-haired guy with a beard to be the sexy guy in the film. So thanks for that. Diane, I'm wondering if you could talk about the sort of emotional changes that your character undergoes. And Fatih discussed your amelioration of the script. If you could just talk about what you did to shift the character as you became closer and closer to her sort of mental state. And Fatih, if you could talk about this balance of genre. You talk about the thriller element, the political element. It still has to be an entertainment. In some ways, this is one of the only studio films here because of Warner's involvement. Just wondering if you could talk about the different elements between European cinema that you brought to the film to make sure that we could embrace the story the way that we embrace it.
Well, remember that question. Development, yeah. So, well, you know, we shot in order, which is pretty rare, I think, these days, which helped me incredibly to become this character, because it nearly felt like I wasn't acting, because every scene was unfolding in front of my eyes, and my character could evolve as she does in the script. And because of that, the script shifted slightly, because we realized that certain scenes were strong enough from the get-go, and we didn't need, you know, another scene later on explaining what just happened. So that's the way it shifted, I would say. But becoming here was the prep. It's probably one of the only times in my career that I've prepped a film quite like this. Fatih really wanted me to live in Hamburg for quite a while before we started shooting, to become this, physically also this person who cut my hair, tried the tattoos, dress differently. I definitely listen to different music now. You know, go to bars where she would have met her husband. You know, become Katja, and so I assisted on the casting process. I read with every person that you see in the movie, and we spent hours and hours, you know, going over each scene, not per se rehearsing, but just reading it out loud. We changed quite a bit of dialogue because of that, I think. So really, day one felt like I've been Katja for quite some time, you know.
And the question was about genre mix and making it all work. I watch a lot of movies. You know, I watch a movie every day, and I try to make them as different as possible. You know, one day it's a Korean film, and because I liked it, it's the second day it's also another Korean film. You know, then there's American films, German films, French films, everything. And I try to grab everything. It's like a DJ a bit, you know, like you do samples, you know, like I like this beat from there and I like this cut from there. But one person who really taught me a lot, and he's still teaching me a lot about genres and how to move genres, and who tells me like people don't want to see genres anymore, you know, is HERMAN WEIGEL. Maybe you want to say something about my attitude with genres or something?
We were sitting, the three of us, Hark, Fatih, and myself, were sitting together like in a writer's room to develop the screenplay, and then Fatih was going back into his house, writing the screenplay himself, or the vast majority of the screenplay of himself. And one thing I kept saying was a quote from Hitchcock: "Avoid cliches." So whenever we fell back into some genre cliches, we said, don't do that. Find something else. So if we would have done a genre movie, maybe at the end she would have taken a gun and tried to shoot or something. We had to avoid that, and we constantly tried to avoid that.
That's right, there was a gun in earlier drafts, you know, and he said, oh, another woman with a gun, he said, you know, and no, make it eye for an eye and stuff like this. And yeah, that's good. We never saw somebody cooking this stuff, you know, like, yeah. And with the Warner, it's, you know, I'm an art house filmmaker. That's my, I don't know, destiny in a way, you know. Sometimes I would like to break out of that, but, you know, an art house is like tattoo. You cannot wash it off. It's there, man. And, you know, and with this film, the usual people I have worked with so far, they were a bit scary about the screenplay. You know, they were like, oh, don't you want to do Soul Kitchen 2? It was like that. That came like from the art house distributors. And the biggest enthusiasm came, and I was really surprised, by Warner, you know. Like, would you let me edit the film how I want to edit the film? Yeah, go ahead, you know, like. And yeah, so it came together. It was interesting. But, you know, this festival, it shows it in the beginning, the discussion, the Netflix stuff, and, you know, things are mixing, you know, and trading with each other. Different cinema cultures are trading with each other. There should not be too many borders between different cinema screenings or cinema owners or filmmakers, you know. We should all be like work together, man. We should all try to be like one voice of the world, you know, and express this and share it with the people. This is what I think.
Fantastic, thank you. On the right, in the back, Madame.
Hello, Ksenia Pavlovic, editor-in-chief of the Pavlovic Today. Thank you for taking my question. I have a question for director. Whether the left wing or the right wing, terrorist violence is always a terrorist violence, and the loss of human life is always the loss of human life, and this is something that I would like to build on what you said. How do you feel knowing that we are watching this film just a few days after the terrorist attack in Manchester? And what do you think is the formulation as to ways your film is talking to the terrorist violence that just happened in Manchester, now walking this red carpet, knowing that what's in your film is actually happening in the real life? And for Diane, do you have any message based on the role you have played and the experience you learned through this film that can send a message maybe of comfort or any kind of message to the mothers who lost their children in the terrorist attack in Manchester? Thank you.
So, look, when we wrote this and developed this and shoot this, there were a lot of terrorist attacks, you know, like there was the Bataclan, there was Nice, you know, there was Istanbul, there was, you know, so now it's Manchester, you know. And what I think about such terror attacks, there's no difference of my thoughts being on the red carpet or being at home and doing laundry or, I don't know, homework kind of stuff. It's the same feeling. My feeling is with the people who have a loss. My people is with the parents who have lost the children. I think about that. It's no matter where I am. This is what I think. You know, I am not trying to take any benefit of this, you know, first. And we live in days of war, and this is it. We are in a war. We are in a globalized war. And the war of today is a different war. It's not with helicopters just and tanks and not just in Syria. The war is all over the world. It's a world war. And we use the water, the sea metamorphic. My films are like water somehow. I am like water. And my films, they on the surface, they reflect what's going on in the world. I'm surrounded by war. And I'm full of anger because of that, and I'm full of thoughts about that. And if I want or not, this sneaks into my work, you know, and I have to express it, you know, and I have to share it. I don't say what the character is doing is right or wrong. It's up to you writing it if it's right or wrong, you know.
I think what Fatih is saying is kind of how I feel too. I mean, as a human being and as a citizen of the world, you know, I haven't slept in days thinking about what happened, not just in Manchester, but all around the world, nearly daily, you know. And like I said, it was one of the reasons why I wanted to play this character. I can never understand what that must feel like, but in my heart, you know, I'm with every Katya that's lost a child, you know.
Yeah.
We feel that so strongly, and you're with your performance. Another question on the right. In the center, sir.
Hi, Hussein Shari from BBC. Mr. Akin, you're no stranger to xenophobia. A few years ago, your name was on a list of targets called Nuremberg 2, a right-wing website.
That's a compliment, man.
Yeah.
Compliment. You know, making these people angry is a compliment.
That's
man.
actually my question. When I was watching the movie, I couldn't help but feel that, is this your cinematic way to get back at them? And is that why, instead of the usual forgiveness ending that we get, you went with the bold choice of revenge?
Well, when these things happened in Germany with the NSU, you know, that, like I said it before, I guess, you know, that made me sit down and write it, because anger is a gift, you know, for an artist, especially for an artist, you know, but like I said before, you know, like once you start to write, you discover other things, you know, you discover like the revenge and all that stuff. It's not so important, you know, it's the wish to be together with the family, you know, like it's a family film in a way, you know, and it really is, you know, and I'm a family person, you know, and the development in the writing process, like that my anger turned into like being a family person, you know, and like, yes, I am angry, you know, and I am still angry, you know, and you bump into people on the street, you know, and it doesn't no matter who is the terrorist. You bump into people in the street who came out reading a newspaper or a tweet or whatever. Yes, somebody should kill those fuckers, you know. We are like that if we want or not. These are our shadows in all of us, you know, and I'm not the best person, you know. I'm not Krishnamurti, although I'm reading him, you know. I get in a bar fight, you know, just because I don't know what, you know. So we have shadows, and we have to get rid of those shadows, you know. And that's a journey, you know. And sometimes it's a painful journey, and I express my journey with my audience.
Question on the very far right, Fatih. First.
Here, Fatih, hello. This is Yanis from Greece.
Yasu.
Actually,
I'm not the one who's in a bar fight. I saw a bar fight, you know. You know? And I'm wondering, why are these people doing this, you know? This is the thing, you know. Sorry.
No problem. I agree with you. The film is about loss. It's about a woman under stress, but it has
what, man?
Yes, it has a specific background which is irrelevant, you say, because it could be anywhere, but you chose the Golden Dawn, which is the extreme right party of Greece. And I want you to speak a little bit about that choice.
I did that because my grandparents come from Greece. You know, from my mother's side, they come from Crete, you know, like, and as you know, I'm very close, I have very close Greek friends, you know. My closest friends are Greek, actually, and we discussed a lot about that. And when I was doing my research on the NSU thing, I read that some neo-Nazis went into the court, watching the court, you know, as spectators, and they had the logo of the Golden Dawn Party. You can read this in the files of the process, you know, it's,
trial
of the trial. Yeah. You can Google the trial, and it's called NSU Watch, and you can read the whole trial. And on one day, I don't remember which one, there were mentioned these guys with those shirts, and I was like, this is a network. And I read a lot about Blood and Honor and Combat 18 and all these groups, you know, and this is a global network of Nazis, you know, and like I said before, it's also a film about globalization, and that's why it appeared. And I like, no, I don't want to say that. I don't want to, no. Okay, I'll tell this to you in private. Don't write about it.
Thank you so much for coming to talk to us about the film. Thank you for bringing us the film.
Thank you.